Welcome to NAIOP Solution Series program titled Vacant to Vibrant, Repurposing Commercial Real Estate. My name is Sandy Hudson and I will be your host. The Solution Series programs are available at no cost to NAIOP members. These mini webinars run less than 30 minutes and our goal is to provide you with some quick tips and insights, all types of positive strategies and tactics to help you succeed in today's business environment. Is there a topic you would like to learn more about? Please send us an email to solutions@naiop.org to let us know what topics you would like to hear from in future programs. NAIOP has produced the popular Solution Series programs for almost 3 years. Did you miss one of our informative topics? The archives of these programs are available to NAIOP members at no cost through the on-demand bookstore. Examples of past programs are listed on the current slide. Our topics cover finance, niche development, logistics, and more. Visit the NAIOP website at www.naiop.org/solution series for links to the archives. And now let's get on with our program. With us today is Jeffrey Rogers, President and Chief Operating Officer of Integra Realty Resources Incorporated, the largest independent commercial real estate valuation and consulting firm in North America. Since joining the firm in 2004, Rogers has navigated Integra through some of the most challenging market conditions the firm and its clients have faced, while achieving aggressive growth targets. Throughout his 20-year career, Rogers has assembled experience in real estate, e-commerce, technology, management, and entrepreneurship to offer unique and valuable assets to organizations and businesses alike. He maintains areas of expertise in almost every imaginable facet of commercial real estate, from the CMBS market and complex retail to lodging, hospitality, and business valuation. Welcome, Jeffrey. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Sandy. The program today will focus on repurposed commercial real estate. And if we take a step back, let's think back to 2007. In 2007 began the biggest economic collapse of our modern times. A couple of things happened during the collapse. One, wealth evaporated, not only from the company level, but also from the individual and family level. Everyone felt poor, and in fact, everyone was. Consumers stopped spending. And in turn, businesses did a couple of things as well. First, they stopped investing. Then they stopped hiring. And as the collapse wore on, they began to lay off in mass numbers. This caused commercial real estate to suffer not only from retail, but almost every aspect. Now, what owners and investors had to do from then on is get very creative and repurpose some of the real estate that became vacant during the crash. And even as we recover and come out of the recession, there is still real estate that needs to be repurposed. There are businesses that are still in trouble, and there are vacancies still happening and still climbing. If we just focus on retail for a moment, let's take a look at how investors and owners have repurposed some of the commercial real estate. Bookstores. We saw stores such as Borders go out of business. We have even seen Barnes & Noble, which is still in business, cut back significantly. If you look at Barnes & Noble, 2011 they had 100 leases come due. This year in 2012 they will have 129 leases come due. And in 2013 they will have 121 leases come due. They will continue to cut back in stores every year to retain costs. This will leave some vacant space. Same in some areas of the country, even though multifamily is hot right now, in some areas they did have overbuilding, and that needed to be repurposed. And as you take a step back and look at what can we do, you look at kind of what is needed in the economy at the moment. If we look at the U.S., we are an aging population. In 27 years from now, our 60-plus population will more than double. So it's clear that long-term we're going to need more healthcare facilities. And that is where some owners have been able to repurpose some of the bookstores and big boxes into clinics and medical office facilities. Healthcare was one of the only industries which grew during the entire downturn. And places where multifamily units have been overbuilt, they've turned to assisted living facilities as our aging population looks for a place to live. We also have seen auto dealerships, typically in strip centers, look for ways to repurpose real estate. Thousands of auto dealerships went out of business during the crash. And during this time, there was a sense of that we should go back to basics, such as greenhouse facilities, and also in some places like Detroit, going back to even farmland within cities. That has been a great repurposing. Within the mall space, a lot of malls across the country have mom and pop stores that have disappeared throughout this downturn, leaving blights within stores that are barely surviving. So what they've been able to do with mall space is to find a need of government agencies. Government agencies have started to cut back on the amount of real estate that they own and lease that were standalone. But they also had a need to still reach people in the community, especially young people. And the great thing about malls, especially in small towns, is that that's typically where people congregate, especially young people. So government agencies, DMVs, some office space, they were able to lease out these empty mall spaces and to serve the purpose. They got even closer to the people, and they got cheaper rents, and they were able to still transact business. Big boxes such as Circuit City went out of business. Home Depot had problems. Linen and things went out of business. We also saw Blockbuster go into bankruptcy, and they closed a number of stores. Owners, again, got creative and looked at things that people wanted more of, especially young people, such as activity-based retail. That includes gun ranges, paintballs, golf, almost anything a young person would want and pay for, got to look at. And in some cases, they've been very successful as this real estate has gotten repurposed. Now let's move to office properties. We have seen from office owners and investors that they experience vacancies in a number of different ways. One, in multi-tenant buildings, some companies went out of business or cut back severely, leaving floors or part of floors empty. Or for large companies, they also had to experience layoffs, leaving a good deal of their real estate vacant. And during the run-up, a lot of focus on the individual employee got left behind because people were busy filling orders, making money, going about their business. But with the slowdown in the extra space, businesses started to focus more on an employee and add in things that were once done away with, such as daycare and nursing rooms and quiet rooms. We've also saw businesses add in educational facilities. Used to be that education was something that you outsource and go off-site for. Now with extra space, businesses were able to do that closer to home. We also saw a lot of businesses add in things such as gyms and temporary offices for partners and hoteling suites, also for partners and clients alike. Nonprofits got help during this time as well, because they did suffer as harshly as some businesses, as people cut back on donations. So a lot of nonprofits could not afford office space. And so they reached out to partners in which they knew and also past donors. And they were able to get office space donated. And those are some of the ways that office owners and investors were able to repurpose some of their vacant space. In some ways it was good in the sense that it became more focused on the employees. Then moving to repurposing attributes, it is great if you can repurpose real estate, but the one thing you have to realize that there are a number of things you have to look at to make sure that it makes good economic, legal, and physical sense. Typically what happens once the space goes vacant, a team is brought in and there's a brainstorming session. There's an assessment of what is around the vacant space, and then everyone needs to get creative of what could work in this space. And you have to really put yourself in that community. So if I lived here, if I lived across the street, or if I commuted here for work, or if I commuted here for school, what would keep me in this neighborhood? What would cause me to spend money? What do I want here? You have to go through that for a successful process. And really 4 things also you need to look at once you get that creativity going. 1, location. The denser the area, obviously, the better. When you have this happen in Miami, you have more options because you have more people, it's more dense. But what if you're in Oklahoma or Detroit? Makes a difference in what you can add in your risk profile. Also, the functionality. What can you really do with the building? Is it big enough to add in a paintball facility or a go-kart facility? How much work do you have to do to convert it? And that goes directly to the costs. And if you are doing some conversions, who's going to pay for it? Is it going to be the owner, the landlord, or is it going to be the new tenant? And once you figure that out, what does it cost? Are you going to make a return on this? Last thing you need to really focus on is the zoning. If you're going to repurpose something where you're going to have a higher flow of traffic, do you have the parking? If you're going to repurpose something to residential, is it zoned for residential? If it's not, what are the costs? What's the timing involved in that? So all of these factors need to be taken into account before you can come up with your ultimate plan. But as you can see, there are many success stories out there for repurposing real estate. And if you're an owner or an investor, this is a new skill that you had to add during this downturn. Okay, Sandy, I'll turn it back to you.
Jeffrey, thanks for a great presentation and sharing your insights on repurposing commercial real estate and how to do it successfully. Our next Solution Series program will be available on February 21st. Watch your email for NAIOP source or corporate e-newsletter for the program link. Thank you for listening to our session and have a good day.